We love sharing these stories with you through the Hiking Through Life podcast, and we're so grateful that you listen to this podcast. If you'd like to support the Hiking Through Life podcast further, we have these amazing new t-shirts and water bottles. The t-shirts come in 4 colors, and the water bottles are perfect for trails, adventuring, or daily use. Consider checking them out at hikingthroughlife.net/shop.
Use the code PODCAST and receive 10% off your first order. This is the Hiking Through Life podcast. We've all been gifted a journey called life. Let's see where the journey leads us today. Welcome to the Hiking Through Life podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Sarah.
And today's journey brings us to the Superior Hiking Trail, where Sarah and I brought a few first-time backpackers.
Trail we did was between Oberg Mountain and Lutsen. So a handful of elevation gain and carrying a backpack for your very first time. So you're going to have some challenges involved. And to give you some background history on how this first time backpacking trip evolved, as you know, Hiking Through Life is aiming to inspire people from all walks of life. And part of our journey is encouraging people to go on their very first backpacking trip. And so Andy's niece, Kayla, is going to pharmacy school at the U of M.
The University of Minnesota.
Yep. And we wanted to support her in her she was in charge of leading a silent auction and gathering all of the donations for a silent auction affiliated with the pharmacy school. And as we're starting our small business, Hiking Through Life, we thought it would be the perfect opportunity to put in a backpacking basket. So in the backpacker's basket for the silent auction, we included some emergency whistles, a survival Nalgene bottle for Midwest mountaineering.
Yeah, and that Nalgene bottle included various survival tips that don't normally come on Nalgene bottles. And Midwest Mountaineering every so often has these for sale or has them on sale as a promotional item.
Yeah, they're super awesome. We use ours almost on a daily basis. Other things included in the basket were backpacking size toothbrushes, some hiking snacks like protein bars and nuts.
And a bandana that had a map of the Superior Hiking Trail on it.
And it also included a membership to the Superior Hiking Trail. And when you're a member of the Superior Hiking Trail, you get the guidebook to the trail along with all of the section maps and the quarterly newsletter that the Superior Hiking Trail sends out.
Yeah, it's a good little welcome gift that the Superior Hiking Trail includes with their new memberships.
And if you're using the Superior Hiking Trail, it's just really great to support a trail that you are an avid user of and to support your local trails that we love and use so much. So anyway, we put that basket into the silent auction for the pharmacy school at the U of M that Andy's niece Kayla was organizing. And there was a handful of bids on it from our understanding. It was going back and forth between 2 people for a while. And it ended up being that a good friend of hers, Marin, was the one who ended up winning that auction item.
Did we also mention that the whole backpacking basket included a weekend trip on the Superior Hiking Trail with Hiking Through Life?
That's probably the most important part that I forgot to mention. Yes, thanks, Andy, for mentioning that.
Yeah, so we got the opportunity to take Marin and a guest of her choosing, which happened to be her husband, Shane, out onto the Superior Hiking Trail for a weekend. And actually, as a bonus, Kayla and her boyfriend, Tanner, joined as well. So it was 6 of us total that ended up going up to the Superior Hiking Trail, and most of them, it was their first time doing a backpacking trip.
Yep, most of them. Our understanding was that Shane, Marin's husband, has done a few backpacking trips. Tanner and Kayla have done the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, and they've done some car camping. And Marin has done some camping, but never backpacking before. So this was her very first time, and everyone ended up having a really fantastic experience. And from our understanding, they felt like they would definitely do it again. Andy and I have been like backpacking for many years now, so we're, kind of just experiencing the whole backpacking game. So hearing that from some new people was really inspiring and great, because by talking to experienced people, you're able to learn those tools for what will help you most on the trail.
Yeah, and I think we can take some time now and listen to what they had to say. Sarah and I do a little segment here called Fire Talk Chats, and we interview the people. Well, actually, it's not more an interview than it is just them kind of sharing their experience. So we encourage them around the campfire to just share what their experience has been.
Their thoughts, their feelings throughout the whole day.
So in this next segment, we'll hear from everyone on that trip around the campfire in Fire Talk Chats.
Cheers. This is Fire Talk Chats with Hiking Through Life. Tonight we are on the Superior Hiking Trail right near Oberg Mountain. We're sitting by the crackling campfire. Oh, the joys of summer. Tonight we're joined by Andy's niece, Kayla, and her loved one, Tanner, and a great friend of her, Marin, and her husband, Shane. And it was a few of their first time hiking in to a backpack in sight. So pretty soon here we're going to get all of their reactions on hiking into the trail. This was just a 2-mile hike in, but tomorrow's going to be like a really big one. We're going to go about 5 miles up and down and up and down. We're basically hiking the ski hills of Lutsen up here. So we're in for some tough stuff. So it's going to be good. But we're having a good time here, enjoying the fire. And we just had some pizzas. So I'm going to let Marin talk a little bit here about her first experience hiking in to a backpack site.
Hello, this is Marin. I am a first-timer with Hiking Through Life. Had a really good day today. We drove up and kind of got to see some of the Grandma's crowds coming in for Grandma's Marathon weekend. And now here we are around the bonfire after a good hike around Oberg Mountain. I was a little tough at first. I'm not going to lie. I'm a first timer. A little out of shape, not going to lie. But it was really fun. And got to try out a pack and try out some new gear. And that was really great. Real big fan of the
Osprey pack?
Yeah, Osprey pack with the hydration system in it. That was really good. I'm constantly drinking water, so this was really good for me. And yeah, it's been cool.
Tell them about your shoes. I think your shoes are really awesome.
I have Solomon shoes. Don't know the exact model number or whatever, but they are really lightweight, really comfortable. I have struggled with some foot problems, and these are like the only things that don't hurt my feet. So they're wonderful. Highly recommend. Waterproof, really durable. I'm not really sure what the sole is on them.
Yeah. And so when we say that we hiked Oberg Mountain, so from the parking lot, we parked, and then the loop around Oberg Mountain was like right there. So we went ahead and did that 1.3 mile loop right away. And then we hiked 2 miles into the campsite. So it was a little warm up before we got into the site. All right, now we're going to give it off to Shane.
Hi, this is Shane here. So my first reaction to our hike today is I'm having a great time.
And you've done some hiking before.
Yeah, I've done a few backpacking trips, but I always love anytime I can get out. I never Superior hiking trail.
Which is pretty bizarre because he went to school in Duluth. Both them did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't know what you got till it's gone. And looking back, we really wish that we would have done more of this when we were going to school in Duluth. But I really enjoyed the hike in. Around Oberg Mountain was beautiful. Great views of both Lake Superior and then also Oberg Lake. And then the hike into camp was a nice downhill decline right before our big uphill hike tomorrow. One thing that I really enjoyed, a pro tip that we received from our guides hiking through life, is the mosquito nets around your face. I've never used those before. I just accepted that my face was going to get bit by mosquitoes and dealt with it. But I tried the mosquito net this time, and I have no bug bites on my face.
I think when we all got to camp tonight, we all instantly pulled those mosquito nets out because those mosquitoes were just swarming. And once we got those on, none of us really had an issue. So, game changer in the backpacking world.
Yeah, and I think next year they'll definitely be in Milan with the fashion scene.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, that's it for my initial reactions.
All right, let's pass it off to Tanner here.
It's my first official backpack. We went to Boundary Waters. That was somewhat of some backpacking, but we had a base camp, so our portages weren't too extensive. But what do we sign up for here? We got Lutsen, which is, I ski here in the winter, and it's been known the best in the Midwest, isn't it? Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that, and then hopefully we'll grab some fishing. I'm sad we missed the lake trail. We came in a little late and got to experience some night hiking, so that was interesting. I know Kayla's got a little tip there for you that she learned today, and I did too. So, but yeah, I'm really excited for what's to come, and excited for this Fire Talk chats for tomorrow to hear what everyone has to say. So,
all right. So last but not least is the one who kind of brought us all together here, because she is Andy's niece. So she's the one who helped us make this connection with our new friends here, Shane and Maren. So now Kayla gets to chat about her hiking.
Yeah, so Tanner and I were late to the game, and Andy picked us up at our car, and we had a nice little night hike in. And
how was that? Was it a little scary?
It was. Had to get out our headlamps, and learned pretty quickly that mine was low on battery, and shortly after that ran out of battery. So, pro tip, bring spare batteries. But other than that, it's kind of cool to do the night hike. Just kind of have to watch for the rocks because I'm a pretty klutzy person, and I tripped several times. So I'm really excited for a day hike tomorrow into our camp and see what it's like to hike into camp during the day. I'm very afraid of running into creatures, and I heard a little, I don't know what kind of sound it was. And
How did that go again, Kayla? I
Totally
think I've heard that critter before. So it's familiar.
Yeah, I was really freaked out, and I'm like, oh gosh, this is the end. This is where it happens. And
so what animal popped in your mind?
It was a bear, but it was actually a Shane. So he was trying to scare us, and he got me.
And Andy, tell us about your hike back all by yourself for that half hour. How did that feel?
Well, it was great because I didn't have my pack. So it was 45 pounds lighter. I did receive Tanner and Kayla's message as I was hiking back that their estimated time of arrival to the parking lot was about 8:30, and at that time it was 8:40 when I read the message. So this was on our Garmin InReach, so we didn't have cell phone service at the campsite here, so we gave them the number for that so they could text us and still reach us. So after I read that, I made it back a mile and a half in about a half hour, kind of going up and down. The trail wasn't too bad. There's just a little bit of an uphill. And yeah, saw some moose tracks on the way back that we hadn't seen on the way in. So I pointed that out to Kayla and Tanner before it got too dark once I met up with them. And we saw them in the mud, and the one thing I was kind of worried about though was it was getting dark, and encountering one of those things on the trail would not be very fun. And I did not have the bear spray, even though Sarah tried to convince me to take the bear spray since I was hiking solo. We didn't see any signs of bears.
Favorite kind of people, solo hikers. It's always a solo person who's getting attacked by a bear.
Yeah, and that's because they're just seen as a little bit more vulnerable than people in a group. A little more risky to go after a group of people, but up here there's only black bears, and we didn't even see any signs coming in that there were any near the trail, so I felt pretty safe going back. We did get back to the campsite, and it was dark, and right now it's a nice clear night. The stars are all coming out. It's about 11:20 right now, and so we're just watching the fire die down here. We got a couple big logs on it, trying to keep it going with some smaller stuff, and end up seeing quite a bit of stars, I think, and then call it a night before our big hike tomorrow. Here is night 2 of Fire Talk Chats with our backpacking winners. We were having a great time that day, and you can hear the fun that we had as we went around and discussed things that we've learned and just our experiences throughout the whole hike. I do want to apologize. We did have some microphone issues, so the audio does sound a bit weird. Tried to clean it up as best I could, but it still sounds a bit off.
Hey. Oh, the sound of wood breaking. We are not too far from Lutsen by any means right now. We can actually hear the music coming from the party at the chalet. Saturday night party. We're thinking of heading down the trail for a little party later on tonight. We hiked 5 miles today, and now we are sharing our campsite with 3 other groups of people. There's a group of siblings. There's a solo hiker from Maryland, and someone through hiking the Superior Hiking Trail who's originally from the cities. So it was a pretty good day on the trail. We had really good weather. No rain. We were a little worried because rain was in the forecast all week long, but we got lucky with that. And we're going to hear from some of our first timers that are backpacking with us on this trip, how they held up today. I mean, everyone's here and surviving and smiling, so I think we all had a good time.
Hello. Alright. My high of the day was... What's the elevation of the highest mountain? Is it Mystery Mountain? Moose Mountain? That would be my high today. No, my high today was Having Kayla have signal walking at Snapchat right now. So 1650. I think the coffee, that was a huge game changer. Yeah. Not even my coffee, but your coffee is pretty good. That definitely sets the stage right. Somehow coffee and any liquor, anything tastes so much better on the trail. So, and our meals. Yeah. So, Kayla, what was your high today?
Snapchat.
Yeah. Yeah. She lost her voice on trail. We're yelling, having so much fun today.
Oh, I had that. I had both of those and everything in between. I'll talk about it. So my high today was definitely purifying myself in the natural springs. Yeah, in the Popular River. After a long day of hiking,
Reincarnated as
I removed most of my human clothes and hopped in the river.
Well, they're closed.
But more importantly, my low of the day was definitely just the worry I have right now for my friend Richard, the Thru hiker, who I don't know where he is. I think he's at Papa Charlie's, but he's gone right now.
Yeah, I think he went to get water about 4 hours ago. So, yes, he.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Yes. Okay, he did say he was going to go.
And everything in between was the rest of my day.
I think Milo is pouring boiling water on my foot. That hurt a lot. So if you're boiling water or anything, make sure you wear shoes or your hiking shoes, just in case, or just be cognizant that you're holding boiling water. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and my newly acquired pro tip of the day is definitely trekking poles. I definitely took about 90% of my weight on my arms today versus my feet.
Hey, it's Maren again. I would have to agree with that. Trekking poles saved my life today. Had to stop a lot for breathers on the trail. But Andy and Sarah, hiking through life, were very patient with me and the rest of the crew. And we did it. I didn't think it was going to happen. My knee was kind of hurting this morning. I was a little scared, but we did the thing, and now we're... This is the hardest part of the Superior Hiking Trail, so we've been told, and, now it makes me think we could do more, so pretty excited about that. Oh, yeah, really cool meeting people at the campsite, too. We saw a ton of people today on the trail. It was such a beautiful day, so very exciting.
Another pro tip of the day. So, most people don't know this, but it's true. Oatmeal packets are waterproof. But on top of that, if you buy ones that were made in 2018 and older, they actually have a line on the inside that show you how much water to fill up. But now the new ones don't. So if you rip off the top and measure about 1.5 fingers down, that's how much you should fill it with water.
My high of the day, this is Sarah. My high of the day was definitely the fact that I still have some snacks left. So I rationed my snacks really good. There's some beef jerky left and a Kind bar left. So I'm kind of excited about that. And just helping these people accomplish. I'm pretty stoked that we accomplished this hike today. And we were saying we had all day to do it, but we did it in 4 hours. So that was exciting. And another high is that I'm so excited to sleep. I think that sleep outside is one of the best sleeps you can get. Like, I slept very hard last night, and all of a sudden it was morning time. There's just something about being out in fresh air that gives you that deep sleep. Do you have a high or low from the day, Andy?
Yeah, so I think the one of the highs of the day was just being out here with everyone and taking our time hiking too, because usually when Sarah and I go out ourselves, we just cruise through the trail. But today, with some people that have been out for their first time, with some more weight in their pack, and doing this instead of a day hike. It's a couple overnights, so heavier packs, a little sorer bodies, but I think taking our time was a different perspective for me and Sarah, and we definitely enjoyed it. We got to take in more of the trail as we were going. One of my lows, though, today was while I was filtering water this morning, before we set out on our hike, I decided it would be a good idea to go onto these rocks that were in the middle of the creek. I set my right foot on a rock that was mostly submerged, and as I took the last scoop of water into our platypus gravity filter, it slipped on this wet rock, and it went completely underwater, went over my boot, so I had a wet boot for the whole hike today. Wet sock too. I changed my sock, but it still got soaked because my boot was pretty wet. So then later today we got to the campsite, set up camp, went down to the river, soaked the feet, and my foot was already pruny just from hiking in a wet boot all day. So definitely recommend trying to stay dry and kind of using some common sense while you're filtering water too. Don't stand on slippery rocks.
And pouring water. That's hot.
Oh yeah, and Tanner's little incident too, so kind of water lessons all around. Don't be careful with the boiling water, and be careful with the filtering water.
And with that water lesson, I'll just add the fact that I learned that my camelback bladder does separate from the sucking straw. So if you want to separate the straw from the bladder just to go refill your water, you can do that. And that was discovered today. So I don't know if all designs of camelback do that, but the design I have that I got 2 years ago does that. So that was a really cool find.
Yeah, yours was a 3-liter reservoir, and it had that separation so you could just take your bladder out without having to take the hose out of your pack. And mine was a 2-liter camelback bladder, and my hose does not separate, so I was not able to do that. So we ended up just taking some water bottles and filling mine up, and Sarah was able to take hers down to the creek, though. So at our campsite tonight, the creek was about half a mile away, so we did have to kind of strategically bring all of our stuff down, filter enough water for ourselves, and then bring it back up so we weren't going up and down, up and down. So we have plenty of water for dinner to add to our freeze-dried meals to rehydrate, and then also plenty of water for hydrating and for breakfast tomorrow to do oatmeal and coffee.
Marin told us that she didn't have too many expectations coming into the backpacking weekend. So once she started doing it and hiking, she ended up having a lot of fun. She said that Shane has been trying to get her to go backpacking for a couple of years now. And Marin loves the outdoors a lot and likes spending time in the outdoors, but backpacking always felt a little daunting to her. So this backpacker's basket at the silent auction was kind of the perfect way to get her into backpacking.
Yeah, she saw that it was put on by some experienced people, like Hiking Through Life, and it was also with a larger group of people too. And we also included within the description of the basket that we would be providing all of the essential gear needed. All you would need to bring is a sleeping bag and clothes.
Yep, so that means we provided all of the backpacking meals, all of the snacks. We gave each group a little snack bag at the beginning of the trip with some peanut butter wraps, some protein bars, some clementines, Babel cheese, and told them that's your rations for the weekend. Eat them as you'd like.
Yeah, and then we also had some tasty dinners we did a mountain house meal for the second night, and then we also cooked some homemade little pizzas that we've kind of found is our specialty, if you will. The little secret there is using naan bread for the crust. That way you don't have to deal with messy pizza dough. And it's already pre-cooked, so all you have to really do on the fire is heat it up and give it that little smoky campfire flavor.
Yeah, and we use them on almost every backpacking trip we've been going on lately, and there's never been a bad review about eating those around the campfire, so...
Yeah, everyone loves them, and the longer you leave them on the campfire, the crispier the crust gets. But the way we pack them, too, to transport them in our backpacks is we use a vacuum sealer, and we'll stack the naan breads on top of each other, but putting a piece of wax paper in between so they don't stick together. And Sarah likes to make these in quantity and then freeze them as well. That helps them, stay cold and fresh out on the trail. We usually have them the first night or two, so they won't go bad, especially stayed in that vacuum sealed bag.
Yep, I always like to make them in quantity because we shop at Costco. So when I buy all the ingredients, I just take a morning and do it all there, and then they're ready to pull out of the freezer on our next backpacking weekend. But getting back to our first time backpacker and the silent auction winner, she was also really worried about getting sore and just overall not enjoying the weekend. And she told us she did end up getting sore. We did one of the hardest parts of the Superior hiking trail where there was a handful of elevation gain. And, she got sore, but she told us she still ended up having a lot of fun. And it was more of a mental exercise for her.
Yeah, and the first day we initially parked at Oberg Mountain at that trailhead. And what we were going to do was go down to our campsite at Rollins Creek, which was 1.5 miles from the trailhead. But the Oberg Mountain Loop was right at the trailhead. So we decided to do that 1.5 mile loop before going down to our campsite. So we had all our packs on and everything. And it's beautiful overlooks. Highly recommend going there, and highly recommend going there in the fall when the colors have changed on the trees.
And one thing that they mentioned to us while we were up there was, so they both went to the University of Minnesota Duluth, and they mentioned, you really don't know what you have until it's gone, because they never went up to the Superior hiking trail when they were both going to school in Duluth, which was right there in their own backyard.
Yeah, and what also makes the whole trail challenging is that you are going up and down the whole time. There's some flat sections and some ease to some of the incline, but for the most part, you're going from Oberg Mountain down to a creek and then up Mystery Mountain. Actually, I think it's Moose Mountain, yes.
Yep.
You go down Oberg Mountain, then up Moose Mountain, down Moose Mountain, up Mystery Mountain, and then down Mystery Mountain to the ski lodge parking lot.
And one thing that we, Hiking Through Life, encouraged all of our new backpackers to use was hiking poles. And they said that those were a huge game changer in their first time backpacking experience.
Yeah, I think that the other thing that they had mentioned that was amazing was the mosquito netting. So the bug nets that go over your head, they said that they had never really thought to use those before and just thought that, I'm going to get bitten up, just use the bug spray. But the mosquito netting was definitely a game changer for them, and they really appreciated that piece of advice when we were prepping them.
Much like going on a new trail or hike for the first time, creating your own podcast can be daunting and scary. But we at Hiking Through Life have found that Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. And the best part is that it's free and it's all right at your fingertips from your phone or computer. The creation tools on Anchor allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds just as you want it. And then they'll distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard everywhere like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more areas where podcasts can be heard. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. If you're ready to start creating your path of podcasting today, go ahead and download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You've been listening to the Hiking Through Life podcast. Peace, love, and hike through life.